Hello all. In this session, we are going to discuss about the data storage, in which we will be able to understand how the data gets stored before the analysis. That is, when you receive the data, when you collect the data in huge data sets, we should be able to initially store the data by using various methods, techniques and tools. Right after which the data is ready for analysis. Right then, it will be fed to the model, and then we are going to divide into training and testing or whatever. But initially we just need to think of various methodologies to save the data, to store the data. Let us understand what exactly are the methodologies to or the techniques to store the data. Here, as I already told you, data storage involves organizing and keeping the data in a way that ensures easy access. Whatever the database, it should provide us easy insights. That is, we should be able to retrieve the data in such a way that every little component of the data will be easily retrieved. And then, now, this data can be organized in several ways, such as file-based and a database storage. Now, let us understand what exactly is file-based storage. Now you have some data, some text data. Now how should you be able to store the data? The text such as CSV, JSON, Excel. For an example, you have tabular data in rows and columns, for which Excel is pretty useful because rows and columns values are pretty defined. Right then, you will be able to use Excel. Right? For a simple data. And if it is more, if the data is huge, then you need to use the database management systems. We'll use structured query languages to retrieve the data from database management systems. Another one is CSV and JSON. It is CSV and JSON also are common for smaller data sets. CSV stands for comma separated value. We will be able to create a CSV file very easily by using any text editor such as Notepad. If you want to store the data, if you want to create your own data, you also can create by using Notepad. In Notepad, you can create a CSV file, but right after you create the CSV file, you should store it with a .csv extension. I am going to show you an example of CSV, also the JSON. Okay, and this is for CSV, JSON, Excel for common for smaller data sets. It will be able to store the smaller data sets. If the model requires only smaller data sets, we'll collect only the smaller data sets, and by using this CSV, JSON and Excel, we'll be able to store the smaller data sets. Parquet is another kind of an example where we'll be able to store huge data sets. The data sets which is in huge volumes of course, at this point, I can relate JSON and Parquet are one and the same, more or less. They will have the same functionalities to store the data, but there is a slightly framework will be different. But when it comes to the Parquet and ORC, it's a columnar storage formats. You will be able to store the data in column wise, similar to database management systems. And but CSV is for smaller data sets, but Parquet ORC column data sets efficient for large data sets. This is for the large data sets. Yeah. Now, what exactly is database storage? Now, sometimes we need to deal with only the data, values, rows, columns. Understand carefully. Database management systems, either it could be relational database or NoSQL database. We discussed about NoSQL database in the previous session. When it comes to the relational database, it is going to organize the data in column wise, right? So we are going to access the data in the column wise, such as we'll have a key. What is the key? Name, roll number and whatever. There will be, let us say I just wanted to access the details of a student, the status of a student in a college. Right then, he will be provided with an ID, and then right by using the ID, I will be able to access the total file of this guy because the total data has actually been organized in the column wise. And of course, relational database, of course, it's used to store the huge data sets, and NoSQL data sets, NoSQL databases, bigger pattern. What is a NoSQL database? NoSQL database is used for unorganized data. Okay, because sometimes data is structured, sometimes data is unstructured data. We already dealt with unstructured data. We already have learned about the unstructured data. This unstructured data will be dealt with by using NoSQL database. Example for the NoSQL database is MongoDB and Cassandra. These are the two efficient, excellent tools in which we're going to come across the MongoDB in the upcoming sessions. We're going to understand something about the MongoDB. By using MongoDB, how we'll be able to organize unstructured data we're going to go through. And Cassandra is also pretty similar to MongoDB, but it's slightly, the framework is different. But when it comes to the unstructured data, we will use NoSQL databases such as MongoDB or Cassandra. Great for unstructured or semi-structured data like documents or the key value pair. Okay, so this is how we should organize the data. Initially, before we go for the analysis, we should store the data for the organization. Now, this is how a CSV file looks. Now, anybody will be able to create their CSV file very, very easily in it. What exactly is a CSV file? CSV file is a comma separated value. What is a comma separated value? Here, you know that which is the column and which is the value. For an example, there is a family name, given name, VIEF ID. These three are columns. Generally, to store this, what do? We will use the tool such as MS Excel. But right now, I just do not want to use MS Excel. I just want to create a lightweight, CSV file. This CSV file doesn't take the complexity of the Excel file. It can be organized pretty easily indeed. The same data that you're going to store in MS Excel can be pretty easily stored in a CSV file. How? For example, in the MS Excel, this is one column, and this is another column. Here we don't need to do anything. Rather, we just initially will, in the first line, we're going to specify the data that should be put in a column. That is family name, which is one column, given name, which is another column, and VIAF ID. You just can understand the first value in the CSV file refers to the family name, one element. Second column refers to another element. Third column refers to another element. Everybody will be able to, even if you want to create your own CSV file, you'll be able to do it. The only thing is, right after the creation, you should be able to save that CSV file by using a .csv extension. Then that gets stored in a .csv. Then this .csv file can be loaded by using pandas or Python libraries for the analysis. So this is how you are going to create a CSV file. CSV file, once again, it stands for what? Comma separated value. The next thing is JSON is another example. JSON also is pretty similar to the CSV. JSON is JavaScript object notation file, is a text-based format for representing the structured data. Initially, let me show you the example of the JSON file. This is how a JSON file looks. This is going to be organized by using a key value pair. These JSON files can also be written by using the notepad with an extension of JSON. Okay, how you are going to store this? This file format is very simple. Within this braces, you should maintain your data with a key value pair. This key value pair will be separated by a colon. For example, I want to maintain name and these are the columns: name, age, each student, subjects, address, city, zip. Okay, I want to create a table of data, but rather than going for the direct table, I want to create a JSON file in which how I'll be able to create the columns. Simple. The left side part will be your column. Here, name, age, each student, subjects, address, city, and zip. Now this is the column. Everything should be enclosed with quotations, double quotations, including the key, also the value. For example, name is one column. Under the name, the value is John Doe. Okay, so this name and John Doe both should be enclosed with quotations. So this is name and this is the value within the name. Okay, this is called key, this is called value. Sometimes some keys will be having more values. For example, there is a subjects. In one column, there is something called a subjects. In subject column, one guy goes for more subjects. One guy is studying more subjects. So that's the reason why I kept here subjects is maths, science, and English. When there are more values, when you are trying to separate in between key and a value, of course you're going to use a colon, but more values in the value field should be separated with a comma and should be enclosed with a angular braces. Once again, this is how a JSON file looks. How to write a JSON file? Very simple. We just need to start with open brackets and close brackets, flare brackets. Right then, there is a key value pair. What's the key? Key is the column. The entries of all the columns should be kept in the key. Now, key and the values should be separated with a colon. Okay, both keys and values should be enclosed with a quotations. And sometimes some keys will have more values. At that time, all those values should be separated with a comma. Right then, on the top of which, all the values right after being separated with a comma should be enclosed with the angular brackets. Okay, and address, of course, address also will have multiple fields. But understand carefully. Sometimes these will store different types of data. For an example, you look at the age. Age is not a character. When you are going to store an integer, one important fundamental prerequisite is the integer should not be stored enclosed with the brackets, enclosed with the quotations. Age is a numeric value. Numeric values are exceptions from being enclosed with the quotations. All the character values, whatever, if the value is a character value, that should be enclosed with the quotations. But integer values should not be enclosed with the quotations. Okay, so here address, city, New York, zip and 1001. Understand, some people they may get this doubt. Sir, this is a number, right? Why this number is being enclosed with the quotations? No, this is not a number. Rather, this also is a character, because in the address field, everything will be treated as a character, because this number is not going to participate in any addition or subtraction. Okay, it's not a continuous value. If there's a continuous value, that will be participating in some arithmetic operations. Now, in the address field, everything would come under what is otherwise also is called as a character value. When you get into the more details of the key characteristics of JSON, first of all, you understand it is a text base. That means you will be able to create JSON very easily by using any text editor such as Notepad. Using a Notepad, you will be able to type, you will be able to store, and you will be able to create or manage, or you will also be able to update these JSON files. And at the same time, it also is language independent. It will be supported by every language. It is not language dependent. You will be able to load in Python, C, C++, Java. Once after you create, you will be able to load and analyze this data by using any language or any predefined libraries of any language. And key value pairs. As I already told you, it supports key value pairs. On the left side corner, you will have the column. And the next thing is the right side. After, when it is separated by using a colon, the next right side part will be the value. Okay, mostly the values should be enclosed with the quotations, but not the numbers. Some values should not be enclosed with the quotations. Okay, so now that's it with JSON file, and it uses a key value structure, and JSON is a JavaScript object notation, and generally it is used for the data interchange between the systems. Now when I want to exchange the data in between the system to system, this is more useful. Okay, one more thing. Let us say I just want to interchange the data in between the system, computer system to computer system, computer system to any other system. When I want to do that, this CSV file is, this JSON file is more usable. Okay, thank you.